Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Today we say goodbye to 2025. 3 more Bison hit the portal. We'll give you the latest on Minnesota professional sports and meet the newest Bison kicker that's coming up. Hot Mic starts right now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to this New Year's Eve edition of Hot Mic. Final show of 2025. Thanks for joining us however you are. WDAY Extra, KSFL TV. Hello to everybody in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City. Also streaming on inform.com. Good morning. Sam Getzinger back in the big chair, filling in for Dom Izzo this week. Thanks for wrapping up your year with us today. What a year it's been. Always getting the debate. Did the year fly by? Did it go slow? Now that I'm getting a little older, it always seems to go slow, which not the worst thing in the world. Again, thanks so much for joining us. From all of us here that do work in the show, work at the station, we want to wish you a happy new year. Thank you for spending the last 365 days with us. And we can't wait for what's in store in 2026. If you're new to what we do here on the program, here at the station, welcome. It's going to be a fun year coming up. A lot of great things coming. Can't wait to cover everything happening across the region. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I feel obligated. I have to go into dad mode a little bit, even though I'm not a dad. Have fun tonight. Be responsible. Make good choices. Don't drink and drive. Celebrate at your own will, but have a good one. Just want to make sure I get that out there. Looking forward to it. All the celebrations. We got a busy day here today. Bison basketball back in action tonight. A lot of news to touch on as well. We'll get on that in just a little bit. 2026, I got to give a shout out here to start the show. 2026 hasn't even started yet, and it's already been a fantastic start to the year for our guy Eric, who's in the back pressing buttons today. He found out yesterday that he's won free gas for a year. What was it for? A Quick Trip grand opening drawing? Yep. Attaboy, Eric. That's a good start to 2026. So we're already off and flying. He hasn't shut up about it since he got the phone call, and rightfully so. I will say that. That's a pretty big deal, no doubt. All right. No shortage of stuff to get to today as we end 2025. If you missed it yesterday, huge portal news revolving North Dakota State football. We have some more big names that have elected to enter. Some guys are returning. We'll get to that a little bit more in just a moment. We're less than a week away from the FCS National Championship. Noted Montana State Bobcats football fan Drew Trafton will join us. Give us the latest on that game. I'm kidding. He's a Grizz guy. We'll chat about that a little bit. Some other topics around college football, especially the NFL. The Seahawks have a pretty good game coming up this weekend. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. Coming up in hour number 2 today, it's the return of the St. Cloud Power Hour. Our guy Alec Ausmus from the Twin Cities KSTP will join us. A lot happening with Minnesota professional sports. Vikings, Packers coming up this weekend. Wolves and Wild back in action today. We'll get the latest from him as we wrap up 2025. And then to help end the show today, looking forward to chatting with this young man. We'll hear from the newest Bison kicker commit, Jayden Onuonga from Forest Lake High School in Minnesota, which is just north of the Twin Cities, has an amazing story. And again, just committed to NDSU, I believe earlier this month. He's got a booming leg. It's going to be fun talking to him, so we'll get to him to help wrap up the show here on New Year's Eve. All right. With that being said, let's get to the brass tacks here. Very newsy Tuesday, especially for Bison football. Yesterday, if you remember on the show, we told you about the defensive departures that hit the Bison secondary yesterday. Jalen Duffy, Jaquise Alexander, two corners with starting experience, made a big impact. They announced that they're off to the portal. Now, yesterday, minutes after we signed off the air at 11 o'clock, the news dropped that the defense was going to take another hit. And an announcement that many were probably expecting, and many probably didn't want it to come. Stud defensive end Toby Anene announced that he's going to explore other opportunities in the transfer portal. Now, again, this shouldn't shock anybody. Toby's name was very high on the list of guys that could lead this offseason. 6'4", 260, D-end out of East Ridge High School, which is in the suburbs of the Twin Cities in Minnesota. He's going to end his Bison career, 40 games played, and you just knew, all right, he's going to be pretty good. He made the jump from 2024 where he played in every game, and you could see him come on. Then this past season, he starts every game, and he dominates. He led the team in TFLs. He led the team in sacks. He was named all-conference second team this season. And what I really like was the analogy that defensive coordinator Grant Olson told us about Anene around the midway point of the season. He said that Toby reminded him of a young Kyle Emanuel who was right on the cusp of becoming that all-American guy who just could take over a game and dominate. And that showed towards the end of the season. He had 5 sacks in the final 5 games. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that full leap take place for his final year. Now, Dom tweeted out yesterday after the news that he was told Anene has plenty of suitors. Not surprising. But we're talking the big boys of FBS football. And we're talking 7 figures. That's a lot of change. So where do we stand right now in the defensive end position? Anene's the third guy to hit the portal this offseason. He joins Wyatt Osterbauer, and then you also have Chance Simons, who came in from a couple of other locations. Arizona State spent a year here, and now he's going to go back in. Also, let's not forget that Jack Giuliano, another guy they got off the transfer portal last season, had a long college football career, 7 years. He is graduated. He's done now. So the defensive end group taking a little bit of hit this offseason. Now, there has been some good news as of late for the guys off the edge. Kelton McCaslin announced over the weekend that he was going to make his return for his final year. That's your most experienced guy at the defensive end position as of right now. Came on very strong last season. Many will say that that was his best season as a Bison yet. We'll see what 2026 comes. He's dealt with injuries in the past, but nonetheless looked very good. Complemented the other side of Toby Anene really well. So it's most likely him and Matthew Stenbrotten, who announced he's coming back as well. Stenbrotten was another guy who came on very strong. Those are your two guys that have some really good experience. Victor Isley is another one as well. He's appeared in 15 games in his career. A lot of young talent in the defensive end position. But yes, the news of Toby, that one stings a little bit. So as of noon on Tuesday, yesterday, the portal really hit hard on the Bison side. The two corners, Alexander and Duffy, and now Toby Anene. And then, of course, not to forget, the kicker was gone as well. Eli Ozick announced over the weekend that he's off to the transfer portal. So you got 3 starters at that point as of noon yesterday. As the day went on, myself, and I'm sure all of you as well, went on about things. After a little while, I was getting pretty tired, so I liked to, you know what? I'm going to take a nap. Woke up from that, phone was going off. And that's when the news came out that this time the transfer portal has struck on the offensive side of the ball and the offensive line. Yesterday it was announced that starting all-conference and all-American center Trent Fraley said he was going to put his name in the transfer portal. Now, Fraley, if you remember, has already gone through the portal experience once. Came over from Marshall after 2 years there, wanted an opportunity to play, and his dad, Hank Fraley, who's the O-line coach for the Detroit Lions, he had built a strong relationship with former Bison offensive coordinator, now Iowa State offensive coordinator, Tyler Rule, and that helped a little bit in the decision. Now, I'm sure this go-around in the portal is going to be a lot less stressful for Fraley, given the resume that he's built up, and potentially, if you want to read the tea leaves, I don't think it's too hard to connect the dots. You know where Tyler Rule is now. Is that a potential landing spot? We're going to have to see. So that leaves a very sizable hole in the offensive line for next season. Fraley came in, it just was fantastic. So where do we stand at the center position right now? Redshirt freshman Gage Schmidt, he's the only true center. If you look at the roster, he's got center by the name. He's the only one listed there. Also, there's something interesting to consider. Griffin Empey, who announced he's coming back, a guy who's been vital at the guard position, he has taken some practice reps at the center position. Is that something we could see in 2026? I don't know. We'll have to see. That's going to be interesting as we go later on towards spring ball, which is right around the corner, in fall camp. Now, we're not done yet with all the news that happened yesterday. Late yesterday evening, the guy who was tasked to fill the shoes of Gray Zabel, which is, I wouldn't even call it easy said, but as the analogy goes, easier said than done, and he was tasked to be the face of the offensive line. Bo Johnson announced that he was going to enter the transfer portal yesterday. And we've talked about it a lot on this program for weeks now. Bo has been arguably number one guy on the list of Bison players that big programs are going to go after. He was on the radar for a lot of these teams even before the season even ended. This past season was his first year in the starting role. He played 12 games at left tackle, started 12 games, may I add, played a game at right tackle, also bounced around in the interior when it was needed. And the one thing to note with Bo Johnson, he has everything that big programs are looking for. Now he's got experience. He's 6'3", 300, so he's got the measurables. And another huge thing now in the transfer portal era, he's got multiple years remaining. Couple years left to go for Bo Johnson in the NCAA. Now, in the article that Dom has up on inform.com, he says that several sources confirmed with him that Bo is also looking at 7 figures. And we're talking SEC, Big Ten. That's a huge deal. And it's not the bottom of the barrel of the SEC and the Big Ten either. This is the top of the top. That's pretty big. And with guys like Trent Fraley and Bo Johnson, again, that is credit to the development of offensive linemen at NDSU. The lineage continues to grow on when you talk about that. 6 of the last 7 left tackles prior to Bo, they got drafted. That streak's going to end at Bo. We'll see what the future holds. So we'll wait on that. Now, depending on how things go for Bo the rest of the way, he's probably going to move on to the next level as well. Now, I understand, I saw it on social media yesterday, I understand many are going to question why would guys leave a program that is pretty much been known as offensive line U. Zabel was in a similar position, Gray Zabel I'm talking, was in a similar position as Bo Johnson, but granted, he didn't have the eligibility that Bo Johnson has when transfer portal conversation was coming. And Gray elected to stay, and that worked out. But here's the deal. In the transfer portal era, any situation, the general public, you don't get to make the decisions. The decisions are up to each individual player and the people in their corner. What they decide is best for them, what they want to do is what they're going to do. You wish them the best of luck. Absolutely. No doubt about that. Thank you for your time here. You did wonderful. Best of luck moving forward. But that's the harsh reality of where we're at right now in college football. There's no doubt. Now, with all that news that could seem doom and gloomy, all these guys leaving, there is some good news, especially for the offensive line. Josh Maggins returning. We'll see what role he takes on moving forward. Again, he's a defensive lineman converted to the offensive line, now has a year of starting experience. We'll see what 2026 brings. Ryan Babbitts is still around. A freshman last year who came onto the scene and made himself known. Had a really good year in his first season. What role does he take on in 2026? The Tostad brothers are still around, both Brett and Nate. Lewinsky's still there, Jack Lewinsky. He's got some experience in a reserve role. Great 2025 class of linemen and a good 2026 class coming in as well. So some bright spots there when you look at that. But to recap the transfer portal day yesterday, Toby Inene is in, Trent Fraley is in, Bo Johnson is in. And they are joined by Jalen Duffy, Jaquise Alexander, and Eli Ozick. Now, there is some more good news. I'm a good news kind of guy. There's some more good news to share and a sigh of relief for the Bison defense that was had yesterday. Junior safety Darius Givens announced that he's going to come back to NDSU for another year. Now, that's huge, considering the secondary, as we mentioned, took a hit with Duffy and Alexander leaving. Let's not forget Ryan Jones has graduated. And to get that star power back and experience back in that area of the field for the Bison, that's big. Darius was a second-team all-conference member last year. He's been a 2-year starter. He was really thrown in the fire in 2024 when the safety group had all those injuries. And then last year, this past season, rock solid. He was a fun guy to watch. Now, pair that with the news that Talon Edey is coming back. Safeties look pretty good. With that being said, we're still waiting to hear on another one. Jalen Crumby is a name that's probably right there, right next on the list, where we'll have to see what he decides. If they can get him back, if you get Edey, Givens, and Crumby, that's solid. But we'll see what Jalen decides here coming up soon. Again, transfer portal opens up in a couple of days. Now, before we go to break and set up the rest of our show, let's glass half empty, glass half full this thing real quick. Glass half empty. With all the news that happened yesterday and throughout the weekend, the starters that are leaving, some of the other guys that are leaving, this is a tough pill to swallow. Absolutely. These are not just guys with starting experience. A lot of them are All-Americans. Had fantastic times here at NDSU. So, yeah, it stinks. It's going to be sad not seeing these guys in a green and gold uniform anymore. That's the nature of the business. That's where we're at right now. Now, like I said, I'm a good news guy, so let's look at the glass half full. There's about 80 guys right now that have announced that they're coming back to North Dakota State. Any other program in the country would take that ratio. 80 guys returning. As of right now, 5 guys have their name in. And as someone who helps cover the team, and I hope some fans share in this sentiment as well, I'm excited for what the future is going to hold for this Bison football program. There's a lot of talent coming back, a ton of talent. Yes, most of them are inexperienced, but the potential star power is there. There is no doubt about that. I'm excited to see who comes in, what happens when the transfer portal does officially open up. Who does the Bison go out and get? Try to fill these holes that have now been created. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see how the masterminds up in North Fargo tool this roster for 2026 when spring ball and fall camp come around. That's going to be cool to see. Again, talent is there. Experience may not be there. But there's still plenty to be excited about. Yes, it hurts. There's no doubt about that. It does sting for Bison fans seeing these guys in the portal. But the opportunity, the money is there. A lot of money we're talking for these guys. And big-time schools chomping at the bit. Again, the portal officially opens on Friday. I think I saw right now, as a whole, you're looking at like 3,500 guys in the transfer portal right now. That's I'll walk tightly to the rope on this one. It feels like a scary place to be right now. If you don't have a plan, if you don't know exactly what the future holds, we'll see. There's 3,500 guys in the portal. That's an interesting spot. So that's the latest on what's going on with North Dakota State football. We'll keep our eye on everything. A lot of portal news happening throughout the last couple of days, and especially yesterday. We'll see what today holds. That being said, let's look ahead to the rest of the morning. As we told you earlier, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Drew Trafton will join us. A lot to talk about with him. It's the holiday. Let's have him on for a little longer than usual. Drew Trafton joining us at 9:35. To start hour number 2, it's the return of the St. Cloud Power Hour. Alec Ausmus from KSTP down in the Twin Cities will join us. A lot happening with Minnesota professional sports. Can't wait to talk with him as well. Then at 10:35, the newest North Dakota State kicker commit, Jayden Onuonga from Forest Lake High School will join us, talk about how he got into football, which is a crazy story, how NDSU got into the picture, and figured, you know what, with everything going on right now, it's good to look to the future a little bit. So that's coming up to start the show. We're just getting started as we wrap up 2025. Hot Mic continues when we come back.
The biggest Seahawks, Sounders, and Mariners fan in the FM area. It's time for Views with Drew.
Drew Trafton back with us on a Wednesday morning. It's the holidays, so let's have him stick around for a little bit longer than normal. How you doing, man?
Well, I've got a bone to pick with you.
I figured.
Right off the top here. So I walk in this morning into WDAY. It's snowing outside. It's gently falling. It's like this is really picturesque for a New Year's Eve. I walk downstairs, walk into the control room, say hi to the guys. The first thing Eric says is like, "You are not going to believe what Sam called you," or said about you. And I was like, "Man, did he call my kids ugly? Like, I don't know, like what is this?"
I would never.
And he's like, he called you a Montana State fan. And Sam, I would have rather you called my kids ugly. All right, like that.
I'll
is.
write that down for next time. I
never.
It was
never,
tongue in cheek.
Sam.
It was tongue in cheek. I said afterwards. He's a Grizz guy. I wrote that down last night. I was like, he's not going to like that. But we're going to keep it in.
No, I'm doing fine, though, other than
good.
that. I'm over the sting of the semifinal loss, I think.
I was going to say, did you get the week to
walk
process
it? And it makes, like, in that was such a weird game because I went into it not really feeling like, I didn't feel the pressure and the worry that you normally feel heading into a big game as a fan, where you're like, I'm kind of nervous about this. Like, I don't know, like there's that chance. It really did feel to me like they were playing with house money a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was like I knew they could hang with those guys. So it was like, well, we'll see. But also it's on the road and all of that. And, I haven't been in Montana either. So I haven't had to, live with the backlash of it really, too.
I imagine it's something else this year.
Yeah. And it's like if I want to, shut myself off to that, then I can shut myself off to it a little bit. So I might just be protecting myself a little bit. But.
So I take it you're not cheering for Montana State on Monday?
Yeah, it's a safe assumption.
Yeah? You're not going to go for them?
No, it's really interesting. So I've had conversations with fellow Grizz fans the last, week and just about what are you going to cheer for the Bobcats because they're a Montana team and it's a Big Sky team, and there is a very sharp divide because some people they feel like they're like, yeah, you know what, like you look at it where it's like beat the Missouri Valley Football Conference in a championship game, like get that over with, like set that aside, and then maybe the Cats winning a title would be the catalyst the Grizz need to for boosters to get more engaged, for just to really really ramp that up. And overall, I could see that argument where it's like you want more parity in the FCS, and it's like it's not parity, I guess, because right now we're sitting at a spot where it's the Montana schools and the Dakota States.
Right.
It's like that's kind of where we are.
This is just kind of an anomaly of a year right now with Illinois State making the run that they have.
The team of the moment, right? But it's like if that were to happen, if the Cats are to get this done finally, it's like does that then mobilize, the Montana's faction that's been kind of asleep at the switch still, to be like, okay, we're gonna activate, we're gonna start throwing some money towards this thing, we're gonna really put the pedal to the metal to catch up and to make sure that we're there too. And it kind of felt like that in 2023 when the Grizz got back to the title game against SDSU, because Montana State had done it the year before, and it was like, oh, wait a second, these guys are like, no, this is legit. Like, they can actually get to this game, so we better get there too.
Mm-hmm.
Or like we better step up our game. And it kind of felt like in the moment like they had done that. But it's very clear that Montana State's built a juggernaut with Vegan there, and
right.
That what was laid out before he got there too.
No doubt.
Choate
and they're definitely the heavy favorites going into Monday's game, which is again Monday evening on ESPN. I love the Illinois State story just because I love an underdog story like that.
Spack has been there forever.
Right. They got the seniors, and that's another program too. Okay, now they're getting to this point. We talked about it on Monday with Sam Herder. They're getting some. They're getting some donations to come in too. Could this be the leapfrog that they need to move forward? I love giving the little guys a chance and then proving something.
Oh yeah. I mean, they are very much the team of the moment, right? I mean, and they've gone through getting through NDSU and Fargo. Yep. Like, who can say they've done that?
Right.
In the playoffs,
Right.
And it's James Madison. It's like it's end of list, right? I mean, like it's those guys, and they've been so fun to watch this playoff run. I mean, they really, really have. I look at this game on paper, and like you go through all like the statistical categories that really matter, and I just look at Montana State's running offense, which I think is ranked like second in the country or something like that. And then Illinois State's run defense, and I'm like, I don't, it's like that. That's me. Just like
there's
that's
disparities.
Where it really, it's like, can they stop them?
Right.
And if they can, it's like that would be huge. And like strength of schedule wise, like these teams are very even.
Right.
Like you look at who they've played and the difficulty of opponent, and so it's like I wouldn't be shocked at all if they hung around or if they won the game, and I'll be in their corner for sure. Like to hope that happens. But I do look at some of those stats, and it's like a little wonky here and there. And I'm like, I don't like how this looks.
It was wonky against NDSU though, and look
it was.
Look
and
where
they
that
pulled
went.
it out. That's exactly right.
They found a way after 5 picks, pick 6, punt return touchdown. So they've got experience being that deep.
I like the fact that they've had to be on the road this entire postseason run, and the Cats have not. And the Cats.
True.
They look really good against the Grizz, but the games leading up to that, they didn't look like they were sharp.
Yeah.
It's like, and so I wonder, it's like you've just played your arch nemesis, and you just put them firmly into little brother territory, right? You've beaten 3 times in a row. You've got, you've got to the title game twice. You're the team that's earned this after being there 3 times in the last 5 years, right? I mean, like this is their time. It's like they might think this is a coronation. I don't think Brent Vegan's going to prepare them that way at all.
Right.
And like they're very skilled, and I don't mean to say that. In the FCS, we know historically has always rewarded the team that has the team that wins the championship is pretty much always the team that has put in the work, that has been the legacy team, that has, that they've built themselves into that program that deserves to be there. But it's like, man, if there was ever a team, it's like a team that's kind of sleptwalked through their first couple playoff games, huge emotional high of beating your arch nemesis, traveling across the country against a really, really tough opponent that has just gone through a gauntlet to get there on the road. It could set you could set up that storyline too. Where it's like, and then here comes Illinois State, and they blow the brakes off the Cats because they're asleep. That'd be interesting.
I'll throw another wrinkle into that to kind of combat your opinion on that. This is a team that thought they had the team of destiny last year and didn't get it done. So I can imagine there's a bitter taste in the mouth,
Yep.
So maybe there's a little some more on this. So
finish the job finally. And for those guys, that battle cry.
Right.
Totally.
So we'll see. Again, that game's coming up on Monday on ESPN. And if you missed it, Dom will be down in Nashville for the Walter Payton Award ceremony. Before we go to break, we were talking about this off air to get to some more Grizz football. The stunt, if you want to call it that your quarterback pulled yesterday on social media.
Man, that was a heart attack.
This is excellent use of social media in this transfer portal era. He starts his tweet. We got it pulled up on the screen here, and it starts like every other announcement for guys that say they're going into the portal.
In the right length too, right? It's like it's
definitely,
that really curt, but like just long enough, like where it's like I need to rip the Band-Aid off post. Yeah, totally.
And then he wraps it up by saying, I've decided to not enter my name in the portal. Well, I imagine that was just the biggest sigh of relief for you.
Yeah, because you start reading it, and it's exactly that, right? So you start reading it faster and faster and faster and faster to get to the end.
Last line.
Yeah, and it's like you skip ahead, and it's like, oh, okay. And that was like, he had me going for like 10 seconds there. And I was driving home.
Me
so
too.
I had stopped to get gas, and like I was like pulling up my phone, and I'm like, what is going on?
If you're scrolling quickly and saw that, you would have definitely thought he was gone.
Yeah, my heart dropped there for a second. Because I told you off air, and you could probably tell if you listen to the show regularly, like I'd been kind of on the fence about Ayat, for a couple years.
Yep.
But the talent's always been there. It's just like the speed of the game, but like halfway through the season, something clicked with that guy, and he is. I think that he's going to make the Grizz a factor, pretty much no matter what. As long as he stays with Montana now, like they'll be in the conversation.
I like the amount and the talent of FCS quarterbacks that are coming back. Ayat now one of them. Chase Mason, Bo Brungard, DJ Williams potentially from Southern Illinois. Just the other day, Jerry Kaminsky announced he's coming back to UND. There's a lot of talented quarterbacks at this level.
Oh, and exactly. And they're so fun to watch.
Yes.
I mean, Kaminsky from the get-go, at the start of the season, so fun to watch. Chase Mason, we felt like we kind of got robbed, right? For a huge chunk of the season, that back end of the season, there's that what if with him, and we get to see that play out next season now, hopefully. And and the guys that are behind him too, some of these backups are really fun too. So there's certainly stuff to watch with FCS football that's fun. And you're right, quarterback play is absolutely one of those things.
Absolutely. I'll add Nathan Hayes to that list. North Dakota State expected to be the starter. Let's break. Drew Trafton joining us. I still want a lot more to get to you, get with you. We'll talk about the NFL, what's going on there. Your Seahawks have a big game. I know many people may not care, but it's rivalry week for us in our fantasy football league.
Yeah.
We're fighting it out for fifth place, so we'll chat about that. That's coming up next when Hot Mike returns. I saw that last night. Welcome back is it clearing up outside? I haven't been outside in a little bit. Is it not so snowy anymore?
Nope. It was a little bit of a cloud burst there for a little bit. Yeah. But it seems to be slowing down. A little windy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a meteorologist, but I'll say it's a little windy.
Bob came in after a little bit. Robbie Pointer gave me an update on the weather. I already forgot what he said, so I'll have to watch the news at 11. But Storm Tracker weather app, if you want the latest
which is actually
on what's happening.
Like an incredible app.
Absolutely.
By the way.
Absolutely.
I've been shocked since I've been out of news how people will say that, I heard this is going to happen with the weather. And I'm like, well, how did you get that information? They're like, my app.
Yeah.
I was like, what app are you using? And then I'll tell them no, use the Storm Tracker app. It's so much better than.
It's got a lot of info on there.
A lot of info.
Shameless plug, but go check it out.
No,
that's Drew Trafton.
So good.
I'm Sam Getzinger. It is, no doubt. Hey, let's talk about the NFL here. The NFC West is interesting. Your Seahawks got quite the game coming up. Battle for the 1 seed on Saturday.
On Saturday.
Is that the deal?
That is the deal. And the loser gets the 5 seed. We know, Seattle would get the 5 seed if they lose. There's a scenario where if the Niners lose, they could get the 6. And the 5 seed, you're going to play the winner of the NFC South. So that's an consolation prize, I think.
NFC South's something weird going on there.
Yeah, not that you can look past an opponent in the playoffs, but that's not the worst landing, if you were to lose this game. But I don't think they are going to. I think Saturday night, the Seahawks show up in Santa Clara and they get the job done.
as you probably know, I haven't watched a ton of Seattle Seahawks football this season.
Why not?
The one game I did watch was when the Colts played them a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that was Phil Rivers' first game. So that was my introduction to Seattle on the year, and I was not impressed with what they had to offer.
And
so you're telling me they're better than what I saw?
Yeah, and so here's the concern with Seattle really is their offense has just gone away the last 5 weeks. They've just disappeared. And that's really, really tough. But their defense is so good.
Yes.
So good that they keep them in the game no matter what. And that's and I think a lot of it has the concern is Darnold, and their line is starting to get a little banged up. And Minnesota Vikings fans especially will know how that story goes.
Right,
we saw that play out the last couple weeks
plenty of times,
of last season. So this game though with the Niners, Williams torn ACL out, Bosa torn ACL out. Their pass rush has I think they're ranked 30th in the NFL for pass rush win rate.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold with time, he can do damage. You know, we know that too. And so it's looking at that, and as great as Brock Purdy's played, the last few weeks, and boy has he.
That's the other thing. San Francisco's looking pretty good as of late.
On offense. Yeah, it's okay, so can you slow that offense down?
Right.
Where they're not scoring 40 points a game.
Because their defense has given up some points as of late.
They absolutely have, yeah.
Compare them to the Colts as well on Monday Night Football. They gave up, in my opinion, it felt like a million. It was 30-something, but it felt like they gave up a million points.
And they did that to the Bears. The Bears scored 35. And so it's okay, so if Seattle can get any sort of momentum going on offense, and they can hold the Niners to 3-4 touchdowns, it's they could win that game. I don't think it... I think they're the better team right now. And so I know they've been really struggling. They have been. Seattle's been limping the last 4 or 5 weeks, but they're finding ways to win when they shouldn't. And so it's okay, so and they've won 13 games. So it's if you're finding ways to win when you shouldn't, and you're going to put yourself in a good position, whether that's winning on Saturday and getting that bye, which would obviously be preferable.
Huge. Yep. Home field advantage.
You lose, and there's a chance you play the Panthers, and there's a chance you play the Bears.
Yeah,
there's
NFC
a
South.
that
I was looking at that. So Carolina clinches the division title if they win, or Atlanta wins, and then Tampa, who's 7-9, they have to win, and Atlanta has to lose.
Has to lose, yeah. And they're playing the Saints. Atlanta's playing the Saints.
Okay, so Saints do pretty well when they're knocked out of playoff contention.
Yeah,
so,
it's they're a scrappy
there.
team. And it would be very Atlanta for them to go on a crazy heater and then just to lose last week.
Yep.
Not that it matters for them, but I think the Panthers and the Panthers are a scrappy team.
Yeah, they are.
The Seahawks played them last weekend, and they got Chuba Hubbard involved, but only late in the game. But man, when he gets going, they're tough, and they've got some studs on defense, and it's
going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun day of football on Saturday. Carolina, Tampa, the earlier game at 3:30, and then Seattle, San Francisco at 7. Both games right here on WDAY. I mentioned it before we went to break. I doubt many people care, but in our fantasy league, this is a pretty big point. Our Hot Mike Fantasy League, this is a pretty big point where we're at right now. You and I are going at it for 5th place.
Yeah.
And I am in the hard conundrum. Do I start Brock Purdy or not over Dak Prescott to try and beat you? So we'll see. Who's even in the championship here?
I don't know.
I haven't looked. I'll have to look.
I'm just I'm just always so happy not to be last.
That's true.
I've
been clamoring about it all year.
I'll be honest. I put way more effort into my other fantasy teams once I'm in the clear for Hot Mike. I care a lot in Hot Mike.
Me too. Yeah, this is the go-to league, and then and then once things get settled, I'm in your same boat.
Yeah, it's just be above the cut line. You don't want to have who is going to end up in last. Do we know?
It's Alex Berger, producer upstairs on our newscast. I think
he's got a young kid at home.
Yeah, right.
That feels bad.
It's just a damper. He's been focusing too much on his young child and his fantasy football team. What are you doing?
Come on, priorities, man. Priorities.
He's 5-10. Do we have an idea of what we're thinking for What we want to give him for the pick?
I don't know. Like we're gonna have to really, really think that one out because he's a diehard Vikings fan. So we could give him.
You could give him JJ. That could be hit or miss, right?
That's cruel. I like it.
Yeah,
because it's all on the injury history, and I mean, like he could have a great season next year if he stays healthy, and and Kevin O'Connell keeps coaching him up. It's like okay, but. Like it could be
There's
just that much more devastating.
It's exactly what happened this year, so we'll have to see.
I like that, Sam. That's diabolical.
We'll see.
That's a good one.
We'll get the whole brainchild in on this one. I'm sure Bobby Pointer's got some opinions on who he's got as well. It's Dylan Vogt and Adam Ladwig in the championship. Okay. They were the 3 and 4 seeds. Scott and Robert, I thought was funny. Scott Engen, who anchors First News, and Robert, who we've talked about as a meteorologist here, they were the 1 and 2 seeds in the playoffs. They're now playing for 7th, so it's been a tough go with them. I put up 170 points last week on Robert. That was all right. That was my victory.
Got to have one of those. Yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy, though, helped you with that. 5 touchdowns,
is true.
right?
He did look pretty good. So if you get that for the Seahawks this week.
I just hope he got it out of his system.
I hope, yeah.
Like he's just like,
if I'm a
good.
Seahawks fan, I'm hoping that too.
Maybe the Niners are looking at it, though, too. Like, I'll take the 5 seed. Like, avoid the Rams, avoid the,
Well, I saw Kittle was out, too. I haven't looked at it. I don't know if Kittle's playing this weekend or not. We'll have to see. Before we go, if season ends today, playoff picture shapes out what it's going to be. Who's your Super Bowl favorite?
I would put Seattle in there.
Would you?
Yeah, and obviously I know I'm wearing Seahawks colored tinted glasses,
homer.
but going into Seattle to play, they have to win 2 games at home, and even though they've struggled at home, they're starting to figure it out under Mike Macdonald. That crowd would come alive again, which would be great to see because they haven't in a really long time. In the AFC, I've kind of like I think Denver, I really like what they've done in a short time under Sean Payton. So I think riding that wave. Although New England's been a juggernaut there too.
Those top 3 in the AFC, it's a really weird deal because the 1 seed isn't officially locked up in the AFC yet either. It's between Denver, New England, and Jacksonville. Denver's got a whole list of stuff's got to happen. If we got time later on the show, I can mention it. But Jacksonville's in the mix too. There's a good, and Jacksonville's playing really, really good football.
They've come on hot. Yeah, and so it's like maybe Jacksonville. But I also I kind of want to see Josh Allen or like Lamar sneak in against Pittsburgh this week, and then just go just lay waste, and be like, because it feels like those guys, I mean, you want to see great players do great things, innately, I think, as an NFL fan especially, and we collectively root for that sort of thing. And it's like they're not expected to do it this year. So wouldn't it be cool, with Patrick Mahomes watching at home, Joe Burrow watching at home, to get that done and just check that off their resume.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it's wide open, right? I think it's like I wouldn't be surprised if any of these teams made a run. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle laid an egg, in their first game.
Could happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are these holes on these teams and the young guys really at the helm where it's like, can they do this? And I mean, I could see most of those teams I think making a push. Have you talked about it this week? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I would go Denver or New England. I'm an AFC guy.
Yeah.
I like Jacksonville too, but I would go Denver or New England, one of those 2 teams to win it all. I don't know how sold I am on the NFC as of right now, but I do agree with you. There's a lot of parity.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you had the Rams, and they started to look like they were coming out so strong. And now the 49ers are kind of putting it together, even though they're really banged up.
But again, we talk about the defense over there too. Can they sustain something for the postseason? They have the offensive ability, but defense wins championships. That's the old cliche. I'm on the AFC side of things. I like Denver, New England. That's one of those 2 teams.
Wouldn't it be just the worst if New England started another run?
I know, right? The reincarnate of Tom Brady and Drake May, and Mike Vrabel becomes the next Bill Belichick or something.
Like half the fans of this show would have to leave because Dom would just be like insufferable for it just wouldn't. The show Monday after the Super Bowl, if that happens, is must-see television.
Oh, absolutely.
But after that, I mean, it's
I did notice when I came into the studio at the beginning of the week, I was looking around. I was like, I don't see any Jet stuff around here anymore. I think the flat, all of it's tucked in the corner over there. So he's given up on the Jets.
Giving up the ghost.
That's funny. Hey, Drew, I appreciate you coming in. You got big New Year's plans tonight?
No, we're not New Year's people as we advance in age so much.
Yeah, I feel like that's becoming a common thing. I'm getting that way too.
Yeah. Well, and there's this culture in news that where you have to trade off holidays, obviously, because news doesn't stop. It's one of those jobs you just keep working. And so I was always, as you know, just kind of getting into that habit of being like, I'll trade anybody,
right?
And we work with a bunch of people who are coming out of college, and New Year's Eve is a lot more fun for them than it could be for me. So it's like they want it. You guys take it. Trade me Christmas. I'll take that every time.
No doubt. Well, you guys have fun, whatever you're going to end up doing tonight.
Hey, thanks. You too.
Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck to the Seahawks. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Thanks,
Drew
Sam.
Trafton joining us on this Wednesday. Just like that, hour number 1 flies by in our final show of 2025. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's the return of the St. Cloud Power Hour. Alec Ausmus from KSTP will join us. That's coming up when we come back.
That was fun.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
DAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Back for hour number 2 on a loaded Wednesday morning edition of Hot Mike, final show of 2025. And I figured, you know what? Let's try to wrap up the year with a bang and bring back the good old-fashioned St. Cloud Power Hour. Happy to welcome back Alec Ausmus from KSTP down in the Twin Cities. Alec, it's great to see you. Haven't seen you in a little while. I hope you're enjoying whatever holiday break you've had so far. And how's life down in the Twin Cities?
Oh, it's snowing again today. I don't know if you guys got
we got
some
a little
snow
bit this
in
morning.
Fargo.
Got a little bit.
We've been, it just feels like it's full-on winter mode right now, and the Viking season will end this week regardless. So it kind of transitions from football season to basketball and hockey season automatically this weekend. But we're good, man. Everything's good down this way.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking some time. I know it's a busy time around the holidays with everything you guys got going on. You mentioned the Vikings, Minnesota professional sports. There's plenty of news to talk about with all the big teams down there. I want to talk about the Vikings. They got the border battle this weekend. Packers are on the docket. Game that means nothing for the Packers. I find it interesting because the Vikings are almost incentivized to lose for draft positioning. Is there anything that excites you about this weekend, or what's a preview you can give of this game?
Basically, and how it's been the last few weeks is, for me anyway, is I want to see J.J. McCarthy play.
Yeah.
And that's not a jab against Max Brosmer. I think Brosmer has been put in some unfavorable situations where he's an undrafted free agent for a reason, right? I mean, and then he's had backup linemen, and it hasn't been a good situation overall for Max Brosmer. So I want to see J.J. McCarthy play. This week, we heard from Kevin O'Connell on Monday. I'm trying to get my days straight here.
I'm in the same boat as you right now. I don't know what day it is half the time either this week.
Yeah. So we heard from O'Connell Monday. Yesterday was coordinators, and then the Vikings did not practice yesterday being Tuesday. So today, Wednesday, December 31st, the Vikings are back in practice. But on Monday, Kevin O'Connell said, as far as J.J. McCarthy playing this week, of course, it's kind of a day-by-day thing, but it's more on the hand strength, the grip strength, as Kevin O'Connell referred to it with McCarthy and that hand injury. I think we might see McCarthy this Sunday. I'm being a little optimistic, but like you mentioned, this game is fairly meaningless, right? It's just the Viking season ends. The Packers are locked in already for what they're going to do in the playoffs, or where they're going to start anyway in the playoffs. Keeping an eye, though, and we talked about this in our sportscast yesterday, Brian Flores, defensive coordinator for the Vikings, B-Flow. What's next for him? Like, it's tricky, right? Like, the Vikings defense right now has been one of the best in the NFL, and it didn't start out that way, right? The season, the defense had a rocky start, but man, it's been great the last month plus. So a lot of spotlight is on Brian Flores, and he's a popular name right now. And can the Vikings keep him, right? Of course he deserves to be a head coach somewhere. He's definitely going to be brought up in a head coaching conversation as a candidate, but keep in mind, there is pending litigation with Brian Flores right now. He is currently suing the NFL but that hasn't been resolved yet. So is a team going to call up Roger Goodell and say, hey, we're hiring Brian Flores to be our head coach? Until that pending litigation resolves itself, I don't see Brian Flores, B-Flow, as a head coach somewhere. So if he does leave or stay, I see him as a defensive coordinator, but you are reading and hearing that the Dallas Cowboys are prepared to offer essentially a blank check to B-Flow, do whatever it takes to get him, because a team like the Cowboys, a defense is what they are. Defense is what is kept them out of the playoffs this year. And for the Vikings, it was the opposite. It's a shame. I said this on Sports Wrap on Sunday night. It is a shame this Vikings defense will not get a taste of the playoffs this year, because it would have been really fun to see what they could have done in the postseason.
Absolutely. What they've done throughout the year has been really impressive. And to go off of what Alec was mentioning, the Cowboys are looking for their replacement to Matt Eberflus. That's on the table. And I think another reason, to go off your J.J. McCarthy point of why you want to see him play this weekend, you want to try to build that case to B-Flow that there's a future here in Minnesota, and we have a quarterback. And that doesn't look like the most promising thing in the world right now.
No, and look at to pivot off of that. Look at, for the most part, the wasted season of Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it was good to see some of those toe tappers up the sideline on Christmas Day and the week before that. I mean, to see that Jefferson, the fire is still burning inside Justin Jefferson, and I gotta say, we've seen some pretty good glimpses, though, of McCarthy. The start of the season was rough, okay? And then he got a concussion, a high ankle sprain, so he sat out some time, this hand injury. I mean, he's clearly injury-prone, McCarthy is, but he has shown the ability to consistently make some plays. I mean, it gives us a little glimmer of hope that he just needs more seasoning. But there's a lot of things with the Vikings right now that are kind of balancing on what does the future look like on offense. I mean, we just saw it yesterday that there's rumors that the Vikings and Lamar Jackson, I know that sounds crazy, but that could maybe be on the table. Like if Baltimore loses this weekend, let's just throw out a crazy scenario. Let's say Baltimore loses. They miss the playoffs. Lamar Jackson needs to then restructure his contract, because next year, according to his current deal, I don't know the exact numbers, but he's going to be dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Does Lamar Jackson then want out of Baltimore? Do they want to restructure and have him take a pay cut next year? He's probably not going to want to do that. And allegedly, the Vikings are a team that Lamar's representation has floated out there as a team he would be interested in coming to. So does something like that, I got to think that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the Vikings GM, and Kevin O'Connell, they can't help themselves, right? They're always looking, right? I know McCarthy could be the guy for the future, but how can a guy like Kevin O'Connell, who wants to just uncork that offense, let the ball fly and do all kinds of things, he's not going to wait. Like there's some guys on the hot seat a little bit, I think, with the Vikings right now.
Absolutely. That's intriguing. That would spark some buzz if you get Lamar up here to Minnesota. That would be quite the deal. In the meantime, I'm personally preparing for a Max Brosmer-Clayton Tune matchup this weekend. That's what I have to look forward to. So we'll see. Interesting to see what happens with the Minnesota Vikings moving forward. Again, Alec Ausmus from KSTP joining us. I want to talk about the Wolves and the Wild here a little bit. Start with the Wild. I use this phrase all the time. The Wild are a wagon. What can you say about their play as of late?
Well, as of late, it's this road trip. This 7-game road trip has been a breeze so far. I mean, yeah, it was an overtime win in Winnipeg to start things off, but what was awesome about that is they tied the game with like 20 seconds left, a goal for Matt Zuccarello, and then in overtime, it took 40 seconds, and what you saw there was Kirill to Quinn Hughes to Boldy for the game winner.
Scary.
And then their next game in Las Vegas, they're cruising right through that as well, and that line of Marcus Johansson, Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson Ek, like 8 points in the game, 3 goals. Like, there's production coming from everywhere right now, and you can't forget about the goaltending.
Yep.
The goaltending, that's what I think could separate the Wild, but it's crazy when you look at the standings and how good they've played, and they're still third in the division behind Dallas and Colorado. So at some point, where can they finally gain some ground on either one of those teams? It's just crazy how it's laid out. I mean, right now, if the playoffs started tomorrow, the Wild are playing Dallas?
They would go to Dallas, yeah.
I mean,
we've had that conversation on this show. It's a shame that they went away from the 1 through 8 seeding. And, yeah, I understand it's about creating rivalries and whatever else. But you got the 3 top teams in the entire league in the same spot in the Central. That is tough.
Behind them, Nashville's been playing better as well. The Wild have some ground on Nashville, but it's crazy, that division. But November was fantastic, and then for them to come right back and make December just as good, and they were playing well before the Quinn Hughes trade. Quinn Hughes makes them even better. Let's not get that twisted, but it's been fun to watch, man. I mean, when hockey's good around here, it's the talk of the town, no doubt.
I was going to ask you, what's that buzz been like since Quinn's been there? I imagine it was just chaos. We may be a little sheltered up here in North Dakota and northern Minnesota because we're not right in the heat of it, but I imagine for you that was quite the time.
It's awesome. And I think once people understood the gravity of that trade, because maybe not everybody knew who Quinn Hughes was, and then when you read about it, hear more about it, and then you see people comparing it to other sports, like I saw someone compare it to if the Timberwolves traded for a healthy Anthony Davis on defense. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how accurate that comparison is, but
Dom and I tried to make the comparison of the Rudy Gobert trade. I don't know if that's fair. It kind of seems like that. I've seen a lot where people were saying it was the Luka AD trade earlier that we saw. I think the Gobert one makes a little bit more sense if you want to compare apples to apples on that.
Yeah, but blockbuster, right? Like it's in that category of it being a big deal. And like the games over at the X right now, the Wild have always done well attendance-wise, but ever since that Quinn Hughes trade, they're still winning. It's a tough ticket to find right now to get into Grand Casino Arena.
Absolutely, and of course, World Junior Championships going on in that same arena right now. That's quite the deal over there too. Mariucci's filled up with that as well. Hockey is alive and well, as it always is in Minnesota. Wild in action today against San Jose at 3:00. We'll remind you that later on in the show. Going over the Wolves now. This has been an interesting stretch from them. They had the Christmas Day game, or Christmas night, I should say, overtime. That was a hard-fought game. Oof. Come back on the weekend and horrible effort against Brooklyn, and then get the job done against the Bulls. This is an intriguing Timberwolves team. We're still early in the season, but it seems like there's some character flaws with this squad.
It's amazing, the up and down roller coaster of this Timberwolves team. Like you mentioned, I mean, I'll say this about losing Christmas Day. Nikola Jokic, when he's healthy, is one of the best players in the NBA. But to give up 56 points to him, 18 in overtime, that's a problem, obviously. And then to come out and lay an egg the next night, you go beat the Bulls by 35, that was good, okay? You don't want to let this linger, but it's interesting when the Timberwolves win, for example, when they beat the Bulls. Julius Randle, this is the eye-popping stat from that. 14 assists, 0 turnovers.
That's pretty good.
It just seems like when the Timberwolves do win a game, there's something out of the ordinary. Anthony Edwards goes for 40. Julius Randle has some weird 14-assist game, and this isn't every time they win, but it seems like when they do win, there's not balance, I guess, is what. There's not consistent balance on the team.
It's either one half or the other. They had 81 on Monday. It's second half team. They're really good in the second half, but you're exactly right. There's not a consistent way of winning right now.
No, it's not consistent, but I feel like they've done this a lot these last couple years. They'll get hot here down the second half of the season and just get into the playoffs. Not as a play-in team. I mean, I want the Timberwolves to be a 1 through 4, maybe a 5 seed, and just get in and see where this thing goes. But Oklahoma City. That was a great win the Wolves had over Oklahoma City about 2 weeks ago. That really re-pumped the tires for me anyway, watching them beat that team. But the West is good, man. Like, just like the Wild. You know, in the NBA, the Timberwolves have a few teams in front of them that are just as good and have other pieces that this is going to be an uphill climb, no doubt.
Do you think the Wolves need a point guard?
Oh, yeah. Mike Conley, love the guy.
Yeah.
And Dante DiVincenzo has had moments where he's really taken advantage of this extra opportunity starting. He's hitting more threes. He's playing better defense. But if there is a trade in the works, is there a guard out there that makes sense? Rob Dillingham, I know he's a second-year guy, but he's kind of been slow. Bones Highland has moments where he's really good, but then lays an egg. You know, it just – back to the consistency thing. But yes, they need a guard, no doubt.
Absolutely. Minnesota takes on Atlanta today, 2 o'clock. Again, we'll let you know that when we get to our What to Watch. I know you got to get to work here. You're a busy guy, but I got one more for you before we let you go. In a couple of minutes, our guest that's coming on is someone that you're familiar with, Jayden Onuonga from Forest Lake High School, a kicker. You featured him. You've spoken with him. What can Bison fans expect when Jayden gets up here to Fargo?
Jayden is one of the coolest high school athletes I've ever talked to. His story is amazing. You see it often where there's a soccer player converted to football, but Jayden's different. He was recruited to play MLS, all right? Like in developmental MLS in Cincinnati. He went and did that. I'll let him tell his story, but great kid, strong leg. By accident, he drilled a 60-plus yard field goal, and the football team was like, hey, we want you. And it's so cool. He wanted to play football in college just to help his parents out, and that opportunity found him, and it's at NDSU, and it's just great when things like that are supposed to happen, Sam, and nothing but the best wishes for Jayden.
I saw he was 6'5", 200. Can you confirm that?
He is tall. I don't know how much he weighs, but he does have height, and he's athletic too.
Yeah, no doubt. I imagine if you're drafted to go to the MLS developmental program, that'll get you some places. Alec, I appreciate you coming on. Happy New Year to you. Best of luck with everything you guys got going on down in the Twin Cities.
Hey, Sam, thanks for having me. Happy New Year's to you and everybody in Fargo, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Alec Ausmus joining us from KSTP. Always great to have him on. Great insight as to what's going on down in Minnesota, especially with the professional sports teams. I know he told me off air he's doing a lot of high school hockey coverage today. Always great to have him on. St. Cloud Power Hour, that's our final one for the year. Always good. Always fun. If you don't know the backstory, him and I, we didn't graduate at the same time, but we both went to St. Cloud State, hence St. Cloud Power Hour. That being said, we're due for a break. Let's take one. A reminder for you, as you may have heard, Jayden Onuonga is going to join us at 10:30, bottom of the hour. Talk about his commitments to North Dakota State and his crazy story of how he got into football. So that's coming up in just a moment. Hot Mike continues after this. Welcome back on this Wednesday morning. Hot Mike rolls on WDAY Extra. Big thank you to Alec Ausmus from KSTP, the ABC affiliate down in the Twin Cities, for joining us just a couple of moments ago. Always great to have him on. Great insight as to what's going on in Minnesota professional sports and beyond. I want to piggyback off the conversation in just a little bit. Reminder for you, no Bison Media Zone today. You could almost count most of the show as a Bison Media Zone, if you will. Jayden Onuonga, Bison kicker commit, will join us in just a couple of minutes. To piggyback off of Alec's conversation just a couple of moments ago about what's on the line for the Vikings, if you're unfamiliar with the Week 18 deal against the Packers in the border battle, essentially for Green Bay, this game means nothing. They're locked into the 7th seed. They have no say as to where they're going to go in the wild card. That all depends on all the other games that are happening throughout the week here, the weekend, I should say. Now, for the Vikings, this game is big for draft positioning. Locked in right in the middle, anywhere from 13th to 18th. I got the scenarios down here for those of you who want to have that to follow along for this Sunday's game. If the Vikings beat the Packers, if they want a good draft pick, the Colts lose at Houston, and Pittsburgh beats Baltimore, they'll get the 18th pick. And the 18th pick is the lowest pick you can get for a team that's not, or highest, I should say, pick you can get for a team that's not making the playoffs. So that's or lowest. I always get those mixed up if it's low or high in the draft. Lowest possible selection for a non-playoff team. So if they beat the Packers, the Colts lose, which they likely will. Riley Leonard's getting the start this weekend against the Texans, and the Texans got stuff to play for. The AFC South is still on the line. And if Pittsburgh beats Baltimore, they'll get the 18th. That's a tough spot to be for the way the Vikings were going right now. They thought they were going to have a pretty solid draft pick. They're not in the top tier. They're not in the bottom tier. They're right in the middle. Now, here's the deal: if the Vikings lose on Sunday, they finish their record 8-9. Their draft position will be determined by the results of other games. Tampa Bay, and depending on how that one goes, depending on how Dallas goes, Detroit, Baltimore, and Carolina, for the highest possible pick, the Vikings need to lose. And the Bucks, Cowboys, Colts, Lions, and Ravens all need to win. That's for the highest possible pick they can get in the upcoming draft. That's a big ask. But I don't think it's completely out of the realm. Bucks got a tough one in Carolina. Cowboys, what can you say? Colts are probably going to lose. And then Lions, Ravens could definitely lose to Pittsburgh because that's a big game on Sunday night. So that's what's on the line. All signs hopefully point towards J.J. McCarthy playing today. Still waiting on the official injury report as of this Wednesday. As of earlier in the week, he's still questionable. As you heard Alec mention and KOC mention it in his press conference, it all depends on, okay, how much further can the swelling go down? Can he grip the football? That's the big deal right now. As of yesterday, TJ Hawkinson still questionable. Jordan Mason questionable. Brian O'Neill, the tackle, still questionable. So we'll see. But that's what's on the line. And again, the Packers, they're already locked in. Congrats, Eric. Big year, big start to 2026 for old Eric Bennell back in the control room. With that being said, let's take another break. When we come back, fun conversation coming up to wrap up 2025. Jayden Onuonga out of Forest Lake High School in Minnesota will join us. The newest Bison kicker. We'll talk about how NDSU got into the mix, how Jayden even got into football, which is a crazy story, and some other topics as well. That's coming up when we come back. Wednesday morning edition of Hot Mic continues to roll on here on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, also streaming on Inform.com and the WDAY Plus app. It's the end of the new year. Always a good time for reflection, look back on the year. I'm very excited about our last guest here for 2025. In my opinion, we're ending the year off on a bang for guests here on the show. Very excited to join Jayden Onuonga, joining us on the program here this morning. The newest Bison kicker out of Forest Lake High School, which many that don't know Minnesota geography, that's just north of the Twin Cities, come to learn. Jayden, welcome. Come to learn you just had a birthday yesterday. This has been quite the month for you, hasn't it?
To be able to commit, and then of course my birthday yesterday and Christmas to those who celebrate.
That's quite the deal. Again, Jayden Onuonga joining us. His appearance brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. We got a little bit of a snippet of the story from Alec, who joined us on the show earlier this hour, of how you got into football. I want to let you tell this story here. From my understanding, you grew up a soccer guy, pretty good soccer guy, if I'm not mistaken, and then football kind of came as a happy accident. Tell us a little bit about that, how far along you were in your soccer career, and how football got into the mix.
Initially I'd grown up a soccer guy all my life. That's what I wanted to pursue in college and after that. Soccer my whole life. I got really serious, ended up moving away from family for a whole year to go play for a developmental MLS academy in Ohio, FC Cincinnati. And I came back after a year. It's really hard to stay away from family at 15.
Right.
And so I came back, played my whole high school season, and there's a little 2-3 week break between high school and club soccer. And so the quarterback on our team, Connor Johnson, he's like, just calls me up one day, FaceTime, and he's like, hey, man, you know, coach wants you to just come kick, see if you like it. I go out there. We're just messing around, you know, just kicking. It wasn't anything serious. And then we started to move back a little bit as we were kicking and just trying to build the basics. And, I mean, I was really rough around the edges, but I still had the potential with the leg. And I still am continuing to grow to this day. But really, back then, I was really rough around the edges. But we back it up to half field, which is 60 yards. I boom it, and you know, everyone around me was kind of like, you need to start like taking it pretty serious.
Yeah, I would imagine if it was 60-yarder. What was your friends' reaction when they saw that? I could say if I was there, I would have lost my mind. What were your friends thinking?
I think it was more of like concerned that I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
It was more of like, instead of like getting really surprised, it was more of like, you need to play now, like get on the field. So it was more of just like, yeah, we need this on our team ASAP.
So it sounds like it was a pretty quick decision to decide in that grace period that you talked about to decide to go play football. How hard of a decision was that for you to make?
Initially, I was able to balance both soccer and football. So really my thought process was, okay, I can do both, still focus on what I want to do soccer initially. And then, of course, as time went on, it grew on me and performing well and realizing that it's something that can really benefit me in college. And I really love it. I love what I do. And it just started to overtake soccer, really.
This is we're watching some of your highlight tapes right now, and the leg is super impressive. We've seen guys transition from soccer to football all the time, but to see how far along in your soccer career you were, and to know that you only had a year to really catch the attention of college coaches, did that add pressure onto anything at all, knowing you had a short time frame to get noticed?
Of course it did. I mean, especially once I started to want to pursue it in college, I'm on a time crunch, you know.
Mm-hmm.
On zero coach's radar, nobody really knows who I was. And it just had to be done twice as quick as everyone else was doing it because I had to make up twice as much ground almost. And
yeah,
I'm really blessed to get to where I am. It was a really hard journey to have to get on coaches' radars and know I only really had one shot to perform and really just put myself out there. It was a lot of pressure, but I think it ultimately made me better in what I do because kicking is such a mental,
right?
Like it's a mental game. Like technique, it can only take you to a certain extent. But if you're not really prepared mentally, then you can't perform when you get in those situations where in our last game, we had a second left, and I'm sent out there 42-yarder against the wind in some rain. I mean, those are the situations where you have to be mentally prepared, and like the stakes are high. You just need to be ready for when those moments come because those don't come so often, but, you know, it's really just comes down to how prepared you are because at the end of the day, I like to think of that you sink to the level of your training. So if you're not like prepared, then you won't succeed in those type of situations, really.
No doubt about that. Was it difficult for you to go from kicking a round ball your entire life to kicking a football, which is a different shape? What was the learning curve on that?
A big thing is when you come from soccer, a lot of soccer players, their swing is across their body.
Uh-huh.
Whereas when you kick a football, you have to swing more straight. So I think that's the biggest difference because the ball flight is much different. And initially it was very hard because I'd swipe across my body, which would cause some sort of inconsistencies with ball flight and overall just accuracy. I think another thing is just really following a rhythm and a tempo as well to the ball, because in soccer it's just you don't really have to take a certain amount of steps or pay attention to that stuff because you just follow the flow of the game. But with kicking, it's very critique, and you just have to get everything almost inch perfect every time and do that every single time, rep after rep. That's something I haven't really been used to, because in soccer I was more of a go with the flow kind of guy, you know. But when it comes to kicking, I pay attention to every detail, you know, and I follow the same process every single time when I'm taking a kick, whether it's 20 yards or 55 yards. Same process every single time, which is a learning curve for me.
So let's talk about how you got to the point you're at today, committed to North Dakota State. When college attention and offers started to come in, talk about the weight off your shoulder there. Did that make it feel like, okay, this is paying off? All this work we did in a short amount of time, this is working?
Yeah, so initially, I'm going to be honest, my parents weren't really on board with this whole, I mean, it's reasonable really to say, hey, I want to play Division I football. And by the way, I've never played football before, and I only have a year. It's highly unreasonable, especially when I'm playing on my soccer team in Cincinnati. We were a top 10 team in the country, top 7 at one point. It was just really different for my parents to see the pathway. But I believe once I started to perform, and then once I got a couple offers, they started to really realize, okay, this is something you can do, you know. And they didn't feel the need to really have to worry about my college anymore, especially since I had a pathway provided for me through football. And then once I told them I got an offer from NDSU, and it's really honestly the offer I was waiting for, it really just I could see the joy in their eyes when I told them I got what I wanted and what I've been hoping for and working really hard for. And then, of course, it was just something that they were really proud of as a whole, because when your kid achieves something that they've been working really hard for, and coming from a religious background we've been praying for, it's just really nice to see how God has fulfilled what I've been really wanting and working hard for, and just putting in the time and the hours and being patient, especially because when you're in such a short time crunch, you're just, every day is a big day because you never know what can happen on the next day. It's good to just be able to work on my own craft and not worry about recruiting anymore and things like that. And then especially my parents not having to ask, like, what are we going to do now and what's next, because now we know what's next.
Right.
And yeah, we can really sit back and just follow what is going on.
No doubt about all that. You mentioned it, this was the offer that you were waiting for. How much did you know about North Dakota State football before they reached out to you? Did you know anything at all? And essentially, why did you decide that this was the place to be?
So I did know a little bit. My sister actually went to UND, so I got to see a couple games when they play NDSU, because that's a big deal, of course.
Yep.
And of course, the Bison always whoop their butt. And I mean, I follow FCS football, and I mean, NDSU is just dominant, and that's the type of program I want to go to, where every single year we are competing for a national title, or that's the expectation. And overall, just even when I come from soccer, that expectation of winning and overall just the culture of winning something at the end of the season and having something to look back and be proud of, that's really just my expectation in everything overall. To be the best and win. I hate losing. So being a part of the Bison, and when I went up there, just seeing the winning culture, and overall, another thing with football is just the brotherhood, being close with one another, because when you're up there, those are the guys you'll see day in, day out, you're living with for 4 to 5 years. And overall, just seeing how they would communicate with each other and how close they were, along with the standard they held each other to, that's really something I looked at and said, I need to be a part of this. And when I got the offer, it was just no doubt, this is where I need to be. And just to be a part of that, it's a blessing.
Well, I think I can safely speak for a lot of Bison fans. We're very excited to see you when you come up here to Fargo. What does the off season look like for you now? Now that high school football is over and transitioning, getting done with high school, and then eventually it'll be time to come up here. What does the next couple of months look like for you?
So I'm just really perfecting my craft. Getting better every day is really important to me. Getting 1% or even 0.5% better. That's really big progress to me overall if I continue to stack that. For me, I've just been kicking 2 times a week. I'm going to probably up it to 3, 4 maybe. And then I'm going to continue to lift and work on power, speed, because a lot of people think that stuff doesn't matter for specialists. Mm-hmm. But being able to be explosive and snap your leg fast or get a lot of power behind the ball, it's really, really helpful, especially going from range and not having to put as much power into the ball necessarily in overswing. So, just continuing to get better, stronger, and perfect my craft every day is what the off season looks like. And then, of course, just preparing to move into college and the academic life as well. To get good grades.
That whole trip coming up. I'm sure a lot of fans are excited to hear that news, that what you're working on. That's pretty cool. Last one before I let you go. What's the furthest you've ever hit from? What's the number?
62.
62. Wow.
Yeah, if you go look at my Twitter, it was actually live. Okay. Live snap, live hold. If you go look at it, it was in the summer. It wasn't a ton of wind behind me. It was just a day where I was feeling really good. We had a lot of time, so we just kept back. That day it was early in my progression, I would say. So, we started at maybe 30 yards. I boomed it with like 30 yards extra behind it. Huh. So we just kept going back 30, 40 until I missed. I didn't end up missing. We just ran out of time.
Yeah.
We went back to 62. I think I could have hit from 67, 70.
Wow.
But, we just kept backing it up and ran out of time. So that's the furthest I was able to go to.
All right. Well, let's see if we can get longer here when you get up here to Fargo. Jayden, I appreciate you for coming on a holiday week. Thank you so much. You're an impressive young man. Happy New Year to you. Happy birthday, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Absolutely. Jayden Onuonga joining us here on our final show of 2025. His appearance brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Always great to catch up with the future of the Bison. Man, that's an impressive young man, isn't it? Both physically and articulately. That was cool. That was a great conversation. Great to hear his story. Great to see him in a Bison uniform here coming pretty soon. We got a couple of minutes left here on the show on this Wednesday. We'll take a break. When we come back, let's put a bow on things. Tell you what's coming up on a busy Sports Wednesday. Hot Mike continues when we come back. Welcome back on this Wednesday morning. Hot Mike continuing on. See, guys, I can say it. For everybody that missed it during the break, I was getting grilled by the boys in the back because I said conturns going into the last break. Continues. I can say it. A lot going on this Wednesday. Again, thank you so much for wrapping up your 2025 with us. A lot of stuff happening today from the Bison transfer portal news that all hit yesterday. We'll keep an eye on what happens over the next couple of days. Transfer portal opens up on Friday officially. We'll see what that means for North Dakota State and for some other Dakota teams as well at the FCS level. It's going to be an interesting end of the week. There's no doubt about that. As for the middle of the week right here, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, that means college football, college basketball, all sorts of stuff. So let's get into our what to watch for a busy Sports Wednesday. Reminder for you, Bison men's basketball back on WDAY Extra right here later on tonight. It's the Summit League opener. NDSU taking on USD. South Dakota comes into town. Note the start time. Earlier than normal, 4 o'clock on this holiday. We'll have all the action for you on Extra. Dom will be here to call the game. I believe Greg's doing the game with us tonight as well, and I'll be on the sidelines. So looking forward to that. NDSU 10-5 in non-conference play, looking real good. They did drop a couple down in El Paso, hoping to turn that around with Summit League play starting tonight. Also, later on this afternoon, more high school hockey on WDAY2. It's the end of the Fergus Falls Holiday Hockey Classic. 12 and 4 o'clock today. Albert Lee and Shanley, which is essentially, if you want to look at it this way, kind of the championship of that hockey classic down at Fergus Falls. Albert Lee's won 2 games. Shanley went to OT with Breckenridge Wahpeton back on Monday. It officially went down as a tie, but Shanley won in a shootout, and then they went on to beat Fergus Falls. So I guess you could say Albert Lee, Shanley for the championship coming up right around the corner at noon, and then Breckenridge Wahpeton taking on Fergus Falls at 4 o'clock. That's on WDAY2. As we mentioned earlier, the Minnesota Wild and the Wolves back in action. The Wolves have Atlanta, 2 o'clock start time for that. The Wild have San Jose, 3 o'clock start time for that one. And then it's bowl game season, and also college football playoffs makes its return as well. This is a good one tonight. Miami and Ohio State, 6:30 on ESPN. We'll see if Marty Brown gets in the ball game for Miami against Ohio State. That's going to be a game to watch. There's a lot of other good bowl games on tonight as well. Iowa Vanderbilt in about 4 minutes on ESPN. Arizona Duke at 1 o'clock on CBS. Michigan Texas, I'm looking forward to that game, 2 o'clock on WDAY. And I know all of our Nebraska fans in the building are excited for their bowl game. The Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska and Utah, 2:30 on ESPN. So, a lot going on. We got more games going on tomorrow as well in the college football playoff. We'll catch you up to date when that time comes. Again, thank you so much for joining us all throughout the year, not just today. It's been a lot of fun. 2025 was great. Can't wait to see what 2026 is going to bring. Reminder, be safe tonight. Have fun. Celebrate responsibly if you got plans going on New Year's Eve. Yeah, Eric says, okay, Dad. I know. I just feel obligated. I got to say that just to make sure everybody's all safe and happy. Can't wait to see what 2026 brings. I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to hop right into it with a lot of Bison basketball. The women are in action tomorrow. They got Oral Roberts on the road. The men are back in action on Saturday. Oral Roberts at home. So a lot going on. 2026 is going to be a fun one. Big thank you to Drew Trafton, Alec Ausmus, and Jayden Onuonga for joining us on our final show of 2025. If you missed any of it, you can podcast it later on inform.com. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you at Bison Basketball tonight, and we'll also see you next year. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.